Something sinister disrupted the transport arrangements for Khamenei's final journey as the Tehran Mashhad rail route was suddenly suspended. Why was the Tehran Mashhad railway, linked to Khamenei's funeral plans, abruptly shut down following reported strikes? Hidden details emerge after reported attacks disrupted the planned rail route for Khamenei's final journey to Mashhad. Did strikes target the funeral rail corridor? The Tehran-Mashhad train route was halted amid heightened security concerns. Train services between Tehran and Mashhad were suspended after the reported strikes, according to Iranian state television, disrupting travel on one of the country's busiest rail routes. Iranian Railways blamed what it described as a criminal U.S. Israeli attack on the key railway line, accusing Washington and Tel Aviv of targeting civilian infrastructure. Iranian authorities said repair teams were immediately dispatched, while alternative road transport was arranged to assist passengers stranded by the disruption. The railway disruption came as Mashhad prepared to receive the remains of Iran's late supreme leader ahead of the final stage of the national funeral ceremonies. The body had returned from Iraq after several days of funeral processions and memorial events held across Iran, Najaf and Karbala before the planned burial. The incident followed Donald Trump's warning at the NATO summit that the United States could target Iranian civilian infrastructure if the conflict escalated further. Trump said Iran's infrastructure could be destroyed very quickly if Tehran failed to behave properly, while discussing possible future U.S. military action. Khamenei's coffin has reached Karbala amid large crowds of mourners gathering for the Iraq leg of the funeral procession. Huge crowds flooded Karbala as mourners turned out for Khamenei's final farewell in Iraq. Karbala's streets were packed as Khamenei's coffin arrived for one of the final stages of his last journey. Mourners carried Khamenei's coffin on the final day of the six-day funeral procession before it heads back to Iran. Khamenei's six-day funeral is ending with a send-off from Karbala before the burial in Mashhad. Final rites in Iraq are being held before the body returns to Iran for the closing burial ceremonies. Mashhad now awaits as Khamenei's coffin leaves Karbala for the final leg of its journey. An IRGC-linked channel claimed that Iran launched a large-scale missile attack targeting multiple U.S. military bases across the Middle East. The channel said several American military facilities were struck, though it did not disclose the exact locations of the targets. Kuwait's military confirmed that its air defense systems were actively intercepting hostile missiles and drones over the country. The Kuwaiti army said, and I quote, "The Kuwaiti air defenses are currently confronting hostile missile and drone attacks." The General Staff of the Army notes that if explosion sounds are heard, they are the result of air defense systems intercepting the hostile attacks. Everyone is kindly requested to adhere to the security and safety instructions issued by the competent authorities. Unquote. Kuwait said the explosions heard across the country were caused by its air defense systems intercepting incoming threats. The Kuwaiti army urged residents to strictly follow official safety instructions as the attacks unfolded. Tasneem News reported that the U.S. Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain was targeted once again on July 9th. Local sources quoted by Tasneem also reported fresh explosions in Bahrain following Iran's latest attacks. The latest wave of strikes marks a significant escalation in the rapidly worsening military confrontation between the United States and Iran. The Persian Gulf has now emerged as the latest flashpoint in the expanding regional conflict. Iran's retaliation has intensified fears that the conflict could spread further and draw multiple Gulf states into a broader regional war.
We just hit them very hard, and I'd say we hit them 20-1. Every time they hit us, we're going to hit them 20. And we did it last night. They did a little something today, but it was really retribution for last night. They hit actually 3 boats, not 2. And when they hit, we hit back much harder.
The United States has launched another wave of strikes inside Iran, as powerful explosions were reported across several cities in the country's south. President Donald Trump says he personally ordered fresh retaliation after Iran targeted commercial shipping in the region. Iran has once again come under U.S. attack, as Donald Trump warns that every future Iranian strike will be met with an even harsher response. Explosions have rocked Bushehr and Jask, with reports suggesting fresh U.S. military action deep inside southern Iran. Donald Trump has now vowed a 20-to-1 retaliation policy, promising overwhelming force for every Iranian attack.
We just hit them very hard, and I say we hit them 20-to-1. Every time they hit us, we're going to hit them 20. And we did it last night. They did a little something today, but it was really retribution for last night. They hit actually 3 boats, not 2. And when they hit, we hit back much harder.
Are we returning to a full-scale military conflict, sir?
I don't know. I don't know. We're winning very quickly. It's another way of doing it. We have many ways we can win, but we've already won militarily. They have very little. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
Fresh reports claim the strategic port of Chabahar has come under attack as Washington expands its military campaign against Iran. Donald Trump says the latest U.S. strikes were significantly stronger than previous operations, describing them as a direct response to Iran's actions. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claims the United States deliberately targeted critical infrastructure around Chabahar port during the latest strikes. Iran is now threatening a large-scale missile and drone response against American military bases across the region. Explosions reported across southern Iran have intensified fears that the conflict could spiral into a much wider regional war. Donald Trump has placed Iran on notice, warning that any future attack on U.S. interests will trigger even deadlier retaliation. The latest U.S. strikes have pushed the Iran conflict into an increasingly dangerous phase, with tensions rising across the Middle East. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says the country's air defense systems actively engaging what it describes as hostile aerial targets. Military tensions across the Persian Gulf continue to surge as the United States expands strikes against Iranian targets. Qatar has reportedly raised its national security threat level and advised residents to remain indoors as tensions across the Gulf continue to escalate. After commercial ships were attacked in the Strait of Hormuz, Donald Trump says Washington responded with another round of powerful strikes. Iran has promised that retaliation is inevitable, even as the United States continues military operations inside the country. The entire Middle East remains on edge after Donald Trump warned that even stronger strikes could follow if Iran escalates again. Both Washington and Tehran are exchanging fresh threats, raising concerns that the ceasefire has effectively collapsed. Iran's deputy foreign minister says there will be no negotiations with the United States following the Switzerland meeting, while sharply criticizing Donald Trump.